Took it out. All right. It's been a few weeks, so I'm going to go over another paper here that I did in my undergrad. I call it the Nehemiah Project. This one's pretty near and dear to me, as hopefully, if I ever get enough financing, and should the Lord tarry, I would really like to do this. So let's see. Let's get into it. Only one reference, and it's a familiar one. It's one I've used in some of my other papers. I always use it. And it's the EWTN Global Catholic Network from 2002. Titled 20th Century Saw 65% of Christian Martyrs. All right, the website is www.ewtn.com /vnews/getstory.asp number =26402. Anywho, I use that one a lot. They probably have a new study since it's 2020 and well after ISIS. Anywho, this one we were to come up with a business, and so I came up with this business, and we had to basically present it as having a vision statement, a mission statement, a motto, and objectives. And then I go into strategies. And they're all mixed in. It's going to be like, I'm going to basically give you what it is, the vision statement, the mission statement, the motto, objective 1, strategies for that objective. And then it's going to go into objective 2, and then strategies for objective 2. Okay? And so on. All right, let's see. And then I've got a general overview. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Got some second headers and first page headers. I'm going to turn that AC off real quick. All right, here we go. I try not to shout too loud. The Nehemiah Project. Those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction and with the other held a weapon. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 17. Let's get that guy off too. All right, the vision statement. Our vision is to become the world's leading organization for assisting the persecuted church in foreign countries. The mission statement. The Nehemiah Project's mission is to rebuild church buildings that have suffered damage or destruction in hostile areas by working with the local populace in supplying building materials, labor, and security. It's important. Most missionaries neglect that last aspect. Our motto, real simple. 2 hands, 1 mission, right? Because one hand you got construction, the other you holding a weapon from the book of Nehemiah in the Old Testament. All right, objective 1. The Nehemiah Project will assemble a qualified labor team that is tailored for each mission. Strategies for this. The Nehemiah Project will provide physical labor through the missionaries themselves and or with the local community. The Nehemiah Project will always send at least 2 Tier 1 missionaries on every mission. Tier 1 missionaries consist of expert framers with firearm training, by the way, and former military combat engineers / sappers. Right? This Tier 1 is ideal. This is what you want. This is what you shoot for. Each team will have 1 team missionary leader. Everyone else are team missionary members. Okay, so you got a team missionary leader, and then everyone else is the team missionary members. All right, tier 1 missionaries. You're an expert framer, right? Preferably with you're a combat engineer, basically. You get your sapper tab. Okay. Prior to deployment, the team will write down and laminate keywords and phrases in the local language of the country they are traveling to. The list of words and phrases will consist of common courtesies such as hello, nice to meet you, please, thank you, etc., and instructional phrases, hold this, over there, lift, etc., and security phrases, where do I buy a gun? Stop, stay back, etc. Once in country, the team will then hire locals from both within and outside the congregation. Volunteers are welcome. The team is allotted a purse for the hiring process that is dictated by the needs of the mission. The team will exhaust that purse, all monetary funds, to the locals upon completion. So even if you hire, let's say, 7 guys or 10 guys to help rebuild this broken down church, um, and you come to an agreement of, we'll give you, let's just say, an average in US dollars in these foreign countries, let's just say we give them, $12 an hour. We come to that agreement. But at the end, let's say we complete it um, a little bit sooner than scheduled. All the money that we have, we just, for that project, we give it to them, no matter what. We exhaust all the monetary funds. We don't try to keep any. We don't take any back. Nothing gets rolled over. We just give them everything, no matter what, at the end. All right, objective 2. Upon the Nehemiah Project's departure, members of the local church will have a solid building structure suitable for church services. Strategies for this: the Nehemiah Project will draw up blueprints for each restoration and rebuilding mission. Once in country, the team will purchase the needed supplies for the rebuilding of the damaged/destroyed church. If purchasing the needed supplies is not possible in the country abroad, the Nehemiah Project will purchase them domestically or from a neighboring country and ship the supplies to the affected area. Simple enough. Objective 3, upon the Nehemiah Project's departure, the local congregation will be able to defend themselves with firearms. I know a lot of Christians out there might be opposed to this, but you know what? Read your Bible again. Read it. It is a book of war, whether spiritual war or physical war. It's both, actually. It's not or, it's and. And think of all the people whom you admire or you've heard stories of growing up, and then go and study out how many people they freaking killed, and then come back and talk to me. And if, for those of you New Testament only people, read about Paul, read about the Apostle John, because if you've never heard it said in church, it's in the Bible. Paul blinds a guy in an argument. John and his brother want to destroy an entire city by fire because they were not that accepting to Jesus. So I'm explaining this, all this stuff to you. But anyways, Bible's full of that sort of thing, the conflict. And then, of course, depending on your view of Revelation, even when you die and you go to heaven, get ready because you're probably going to be in a war. It's called Revelation chapter 12. And if you're come back and you're a part of that uh, team or a part of the saints, when Christ comes back and returns, you're going to see a lot of bloodshed being spilled, and you may even partake in some of it. Maybe. Anyways, my point is there's war throughout from Genesis to Revelation. So I understand we're not supposed to be loving that sort of thing, and we don't, but that is a reality. Especially, it's a reality for every believer. Read the Psalms, my goodness. Anywho, strategies on this being able to defend themselves with firearms. based on each country's weapons policy. The Nehemiah Project will ship firearms to the mission's destination with the team, or to a location where the team is able to retrieve them. In country, the team will purchase the firearms themselves or have members of the local populace purchase the firearms for them. If the above methods are not feasible, the alternatives are classified. The team members will instruct local church leaders on how to properly operate each firearm. Of course, it's the basics. Load, fire, clear, right? Of course, teach them how to aim. BRM, basic rifle marksmanship, or, pistol marksmanship. The team members will instruct local church leaders on how to address malfunctions, right? Double feeds, hang fires, etc. Using the sports system for each firearm. And of course, it's an acronym, sports. SPORTS. Okay. Let's see. The team members will instruct local church leaders on how to properly clean and store each firearm. The team members will instruct local church leaders in basic maneuvers such as cover and concealment and firing positions. The team will leave the firearms with the leaders of the church upon departure. Simple enough. Objective 4. Every church the Nehemiah Project rebuilds will be stocked with Bibles in the congregant's native language. Strategies. The Nehemiah Project will purchase all Bibles through Bibles International to stock each rebuilt church. The Tier 1 team will carry them in their luggage as they travel. If they're unavailable, if we're headed to a region where the Bibles are deemed illegal, there's other ways around it, which I did not include in this. We will ship them, right? We will ship them prior to arriving, so the local church will be able to receive them before restoration of the church building is complete. That is one of the other ways around it, but that can get tricky. If the above cannot be accomplished due to severe hostility in the affected area, we will ship the Bibles to a neighboring country and send a small team to smuggle them into the needed area, which happens quite a lot. I suggest visit VOM, Voice of the Martyrs. Visit their website. I believe it's persecution.net or persecution.org. You can Google VOM, it's Voice of the Martyrs. They are experts at this. General overview. So it was from that time on that half of my servants worked at construction, while the other half held the spears, the shields, the bows, and wore armor. And the leaders were behind all the house of Judah. Those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves, so that with one hand they worked at construction, and with the other held a weapon. Every one of the builders had his sword girded at his side as he built. And the one who sounded the trumpet was beside me. Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 16 through 18. New King James Version. Travel aspect. The travel aspect of the Nehemiah Project is to assess multiple avenues of approach for each mission. Since the Nehemiah Project is capable of arriving by land, sea, or air, these avenues of approach are crucial for its success. If our team cannot arrive to their destination, the church will continue to suffer. All TMLs, team missionary leaders, and TMMs, team missionary members, are required to have an updated passport. Construction aspect. The construction aspect of the Nehemiah Project is to assist multiple options of constructing a facility based on location and funds within each mission. The location will determine what materials are needed and how we can acquire them and transport them to the job site. The funding is also determined prior to accepting any mission. We do not build/rebuild huge multi-million-dollar cathedrals. We will not. Our purpose is not to go and restore Notre Dame. All right, we construct and repair basic small to medium-sized buildings. If need be, we can and will build a foundation for the church. However, most damaged and destroyed churches do retain their foundation, both physically and spiritually. Pun intended. Generally, the process consists of a team of at least 2 experienced framers and 4 to 6 other team members. With this small amount of workers, basic tools, along with an air compressor and nail guns, the average time to erect a 36 by 40 building takes 4 to 5 days to complete. To build interior wall boards takes 3 to 4 days. In short, a brand new church can be erected, or resurrected, pun intended, in as little as 7 days. In the event of creating a foundation, the Nehemiah Project can use pier blocks for a quick and sturdy foundation, or make a concrete foundation, which increases time and cost. A concrete foundation, along with tiling, carpeting, wiring, and plumbing, increases the estimated time of completion from 1 to 6 weeks. Again, it just depends on where they're at, what needs to be repaired, or what type of facility we are going to build or rebuild. Security aspect. Each team member is required to pass the Nehemiah Project's firearm qualification course. The course is 2 days long and consists of basic rifle marksmanship and basic pistol marksmanship. If a team member has a valid CCW, concealed carry weapon, permit, he can bypass the basic pistol marksmanship portion of the qualified course. The course focuses on proper shooting techniques, loading, firing, clearing, field stripping, cleaning, maintaining, and addressing malfunctions on specific rifles and handguns. The final test is broken up into 2 categories, written and performance. Both categories are on a pass-fail system. In the written category, students will show they have a mental understanding of firearms and ammunition. The performance category will test that understanding with practical application on the shooting range. Overall aspect. What I want out of this nonprofit organization is simply to be the second thing that comes to someone's mind when the church needs help. The first should be Jesus. When there is trouble, people think to dial 911. For the churches in peril, I want them to think to dial the Nehemiah Project's number. What the Red Cross does for people who have suffered, I want the Nehemiah Project to do for the brethren who suffer persecution. What the National Guard and U.S. Army Reserve does for folks after a natural disaster, I want the Nehemiah Project to do for congregations all over the world. Therefore, I believe that this organization can reach that potential, and the first major step in doing so is to focus on church restoration. At this point, the overall aspect is to achieve a first responder type of organization for the persecuted church, understanding that our response time may take days to arrive where we are needed. We also understand the harsh reality that if we do not respond, no one will. Therefore, making the Nehemiah Project literally a first responder organization in that respect. Unfortunately, less than a handful of the Christian population is addressing this worldwide epidemic. The few organizations that have helped with church rebuilding in the past oftentimes do not arrive in a timely manner due to church restoration not being their sole purpose. Let me read that again. Few organizations that have helped with church rebuilding in the past oftentimes do not arrive in a timely manner due to church restoration not being their sole purpose. For them, other purposes supersede this major need, therefore leaving it up to the surviving members of a church to begin the rebuilding process, which rarely comes to pass. This need is real, and the problem is real. To put things into perspective, a study on persecution by the Vatican in 2002 shows there were more Christians martyred in the 20th century than all other centuries combined. And to think this was before the Arab Spring, Boko Haram, and before ISIS. The global need for this organization and others like it is real and growing. Unless the church gets off their butts and decides to do something about it, the church will be eradicated. Okay, that's my sales pitch. And like I said, I use that quite often because it's so unknown to the people in the West. It really is. So made this paper in my undergrad well before I ever heard of the Free Burma Rangers. Go to them, look them up. They're doing great work. They've done great work. They actually went over. They mainly stay in Burma, but they've gone over to Iraq during the whole ISIS conflict. Support them any way you can. I have, and check out VOM as well. These two organizations do a lot of good work in these areas. Um, there's another guy, I've not visited his website for a long time. It's a little bit more hardcore. Wally Schubot. Wally Schubot. Check his stuff out. But be prepared. He doesn't pull any punches. So also, another good organization is Frontiers. Check out Frontiers. They do a lot of stuff, man. They do a lot of good stuff. I mean, these guys are missionaries. Everyone I'm mentioning, missionaries. But like for Frontiers, I think their shortest um, mission time is like a few months, like maybe even half a year. Can't remember it exactly, but they do not go over for only 2 weeks. They do not just show up and play soccer or show up and paint a building, or they are there. They live there. They're there for a long time, and then they'll come back and then they go back over. It almost it seems like they got a rotation, almost like the Army Rangers, you know. But anyways, the point is, I don't have the finances. I've yet to manifest this idea for a paper that I had to submit to one of my classes in my undergrad studies. But those organizations do exist, and they are well manifested. Go and support them. Okay, VOM, Free Burma Rangers, Wally Schubot, and Frontiers. Okay, and I'm sure there's others out there, but those are four that they're the real deal. They go and they play in the dirt. All right, God bless you. Be a blessing and be blessed.